I am looking for the most awkward answer. Dylan, why does your mama have a purse? You want to move up before you answer?
Why do I have a purse?
Well,
She carries it around.
okay. What's in it? Ashley, what's in your mama's purse? No. Haley, what's in your mama's purse? Okay. Is she going to buy anything here tonight? All right. Whose mama's purse has got gum or breath mints? Boom. How about tissues? Right? It's allergy season. Who has a just-in-case object on them right now? A just-in-case object. Define that how you want. Just in case I need to clean my fingernails, I have a pocket knife. Or clean a deer or whatever. Paracord. Melanie has a paracord bracelet thingy that the boys made her to go on her key ring just in case we need to go skydiving or whatever out of the truck. Right? Is there a non-young person that knows the joke about what your mama told you to make sure of just in case? It's to have clean something, right? It says just in case. Just in case. All right, 3 volunteers. Volunteer number 1. Go ahead. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Then the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 virgins who took their lamps and went to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish and 5 were wise. But when the foolish took their lamps, they took no oil with them, but the wise took flasks of oil with their lamps. As the bridegroom was delayed, they all became drowsy and slept.
Of course.
But in the night there was a cry, "Here's the bridegroom, come out to meet him." Then all those virgins rose and trimmed their lamps, and the foolish said to the wise, "Give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out." But the wise answered, saying, "Since there will not be enough for us and for you, go rather to the dealers and buy for yourselves."
One more.
While they were going to buy, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went in with him to the marriage feast, and the door was shut. Afterward, the other virgins came also, saying, "Lord, Lord, open to us." But he answered, "Truly I say to you, I do not know you. Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour."
Keep money in your purse. I got to use a purse because I don't think any of us here carry a European man satchel. You keep money in your purse in case you need it. What if you break down, or what if you just need it? You keep gum or breath mints in your purse because, well, also, what if you just need it? Whatever it is you carry in your purse. I carry a backpack. I like to carry a backpack so that I am ready. If I want to take notes, I can take notes. If I have a headache, I've got medicine. If I have other issues, I've got other medicines, so that whenever I get to wherever I'm going, I can do it. I can be ready for the thing because I want to be ready, right? That's the whole point of having your just-in-case objects, right? What if Jesus came back today? What are you doing in case Jesus came back right now? Aren't you glad that you don't have to have a just-in-case object just in case Jesus comes back? What if you got separated from him? What if it wasn't a waterproof object? You could never go swimming. And then you would definitely need to carry around breath mints and cologne. But the serious question is, are you ready for him to return? That's our parable. The wise and the foolish are prepared so that when the bridegroom comes, when Jesus comes, they can go with him. That is the main lesson that we want to take away from that. So, I'm going to ask you to think about it, and it's not fair to ask you to answer, okay? But I am going to let it sit out there for about 5 seconds, 10 seconds, make it a little bit awkward. I want you to think about, what are you doing to show Jesus that you're ready when he gets here? What are you doing to show Jesus that you'll be ready when he gets here? Like I said, I want to give it a second to be awkward. Because I would much rather you be uncomfortable and awkward right now than when he actually gets here. So think about that. And what is your just in case? How are you living so that, and it's not just in case it might happen, it's because it will happen. Jesus will return. And we need to make sure that we're ready for him. And that's the lesson of our parable tonight. Do you have any questions to answer so far? Woo! All right, now we get into the hard stuff. Adults, how do you show your faith? Because your answer was faith, right? That should have been your answer. My faith is such that when Jesus returns, I have faith that he came for me. He didn't just come back to separate the bulls from the goat, or the sheep from the goats. He didn't just come back to save his people. He came back for me, my name. He's going to call my name because he knows my name, and I have faith in that. Okay, so adults, what are you doing to show that faith? Again, going to give it a second to be awkward. The number 10 in our parable symbolizes all. There were 5 foolish and there were 5 wise, and the symbolism in the number 10 is for all. We can get into, and I preached a sermon a little while back about the 10 virgins. Instead of me just rehashing that for you, I'll hit just a couple of these points. Everyone has to give an account when Jesus comes back. The lamps are for an illumination. They're for illumination. And we should think of that as an homage to our daily walk. After all, and you fill in the blanks here, God's word is a what to my feet? And a what to my path? And if we are going to want to see where we're going to need oil for my lamp, or make me shiny, 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 right? Okay, those are fun. Those are the fun ones. What happens at the end of the parable? The door shuts. I'm so glad. Thank you. I was trying to figure out how to get there, and I'm just saying, you got it. Thank you. The door shuts. What does that mean, though?
There's no more entry for them. Their chance to come in is past. It's gone.
Good news, the door's open. At some point, right? The door will be open, and those who are ready, right on in. But if you're not, the door shuts. So when is that opportunity supposed to be taken advantage of? Do not delay and take care of it. The reason that there was not a handout for tonight is because there's not a lot of meat on this bone. There's not a lot of weeds to go through, whichever allegory you want me to. There's not a lot here that I don't think you already know. Plus, we just had a sermon on it not too terribly long ago. Are there any questions? That's as far as I'm covering with the wise and foolish maidens. Are there any questions? And we'll move on to the other parable.
We can't rely on other people's faith to get us inside. Just like they just showed up looking pretty and hoping to get some of that oil from someone else. We can't, rely. And as much as you may love someone else, that person said, I understand and I would really like to share, but I have to take care of me too. Sometimes you have to really say, step away from somebody maybe that is dragging you down encounter or a situation and step away and say, that's dragging me down, that's taking some of the oil out of my lamp. And I really do need to focus on me, because I would like to go in to the wedding. I would like to go in through the door.
In addition to the points that have been made, there is another. You could make a point here about what are you doing whenever he comes back. Get away from the good, righteous, spiritual aspect of the answer to that question. Are you acting foolish when he comes back? Are you sinning when he comes back? Are you making a wise use of your time, or are you spending your time unprepared? Are you spending your time away from where you're supposed to be whenever he gets here?
Think any additional? Yes, ma'am.
When I was little and up until now, I've always said that I always want to go to church because Jesus comes back. I don't want to be sitting at home watching TV on Sunday. You know, that would not be how I would want him to come and see me at home, not going and worshiping.
Amy?
I like it. Okay. Ooh, 2 readers. Yes, ma'am.
First.
Yes, ma'am.
Stay dressed for action and keep your lamps burning. And be like men who are waiting for master to come home for the wedding feast, so that they may open the door to him at once when he comes and knocks. Blessed are the servants whom the master finds awake when he comes. Truly I say unto you, he will dress himself for service and have them recline at table, and he will come and serve them.
You're going to read that good, you got to read the other one too. Please.
If he comes in the second watch, or in the third, and finds them awake, blessed are those servants. But know this, that if the master of the house had known at what hour the thief was coming, he would not have left his house to be broken into. You also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect.
So the way that this one works out, and the transition between the two is golden, right? Keep your lamps burning. That takes us from one theme to the other. The parables are very similar. They're both preparation for judgment parables. They are be ready when the bridegroom, and actually this is the one from the wedding feast, return. Be ready when he comes back. The situation is similar in both, but in this one, there are 2 options also. That is that the servants are prepared and they are rewarded. They are rewarded beyond what a servant should be rewarded with. Why? And there's actually another parable that is kind of going to talk about this a little more in detail. Think about what's going on here, though. They are the stewards that are left in charge. And actually, I think your old King James is going to tell you slaves in this parable and still call them slaves. And it's not the wrong word. It's an accurate translation. It's bondservant and indentured servants. They're rewarded beyond what they should have. Why should the master of the house ever serve the bondservants? Can we think of any situation where Jesus did this? He washes his feet. In a grand scale, if we want to back out further than that one and then come back to it real quick, he came to earth. He put off his immortality. He put off his... he did not count a thing... help me quote that. Did not consider his equality of God a thing to be grasped, but put it off, taking on the form of a servant. It's Philippians 1 or 2. Putting on the form of a servant to come and to serve. And now back to the feet. So far removed from that culture. I still don't think that it's a problem for us to see how amazingly humble that had to be, right? When the last time you washed somebody else's feet? Oh, when the last time you washed somebody else's feet that wasn't your child or your husband or we'll stop. But seriously, to show servitude, is that a reward that is deserved by servants? To be served by the master.
Absolutely. It would be a reward, like if you've ever, anyone that's ever done a job and you have like customer appreciation day or employee appreciation day, whenever they do something nice for you, it shows that appreciation and care, and it's very much something special.
And it's beyond that. It's while we can fathom something that close, would you consider 200 years ago on a plantation for the slave to be exalted to the point where the master would serve the slave? Okay. This is the God of the universe rewarding the servant beyond what they are deserving of. At any capacity, no matter what they did, that's too much reward. That's too much reward. That's what your God did for you. He's willing to give you too much reward. We serve an awesome God. Okay, what's the other half of the parable though? The master returns, he finds the servants watching, and he rewards them beyond what they are worthy of being rewarded. So what is the other option? This one's a little more difficult. It's that a thief comes. So the first option is the servants are on watch. The other side starts about verse 39, but know that if the master of that house had known at what hour the thief was coming, he would not have let his house be broken into. So what we're having to extrapolate from the story is the servants were either watching or they weren't watching, right? And if they're not watching, what happens? Thief comes. Goods get lost. Servants are unworthy.
Rewards are taken away.
Rewards are taken away. So we see the similarities between this and the 10 virgins. Yeah. It's either I'm ready and I'm doing well and I'm rewarded. I get to go into the feast, or I get to be rewarded beyond what I should be rewarded, or I don't get in and the thief comes and takes away. All right. This was not a whole lot I could add on here, but who would the thief be in the scenario?
Jesus.
The thief? The thief. The master is the thief. The master is Jesus. The thief is Satan, the one who comes to kill and to destroy. The one who doesn't enter by the door but comes in another way, only comes to kill and to destroy. The thief that's coming to rob. Okay, so what's being lost? The reward. Well, then what do you have left? If you have no reward, when Jesus comes back, then what do you have left?
Punishment.
That's not good. I don't want that. Okay, so how do I avoid that?
Be ready.
When Jesus comes to reward his servants.
When I read this here, we talk about this scenario here, I always look back to and think about the days of Noah when he was building the ark, and telling everybody what he was doing, and everybody making fun of him because it had never rained before. Here he was telling day in, day out what was going to happen, and they refused to accept it. And then when it did happen and the door of the ark closed, imagine Imagine being one of those people and how they felt then when that door that they couldn't come. Imagine being one of the ones that made fun of Noah building his ark, and then the water start getting up around your knees.
To quote a video game, mistakes were made. Mistakes were made. And okay. So, in order to be prepared, we have to, Captain Obvious's answer, in order to be prepared, you have to prepare. All right, one more reader. Anybody?
Therefore, preparing your minds for action and being sober-minded, set your hope fully on the grace that will be brought to you at the revelation of Jesus Christ. As obedient children, do not be conformed to the passions of your former ignorance, but as he who called you is holy, you also be holy in all your conduct, since it is written, you shall be holy, for I am holy.
Questions, comment? We're not quite done yet, but this is where I want to open it up. Anything about either of these parables? Any comments that you'd like to make? We're going to keep going, but I'm pausing right here for just a moment. Yes.
In 14 there, what does he talk about there when he talks about the former ignorance?
So, I think actually in this context it is Peter talking to former Jews about what they don't get because they only have, before they understood that Jesus was the Messiah. I think that's the immediate context, but for us it's going to be whatever you're coming out of. Mm-hmm. If you're new to opening a Bible, there's going to be a lot in there that you don't know. Well, that means there was a lot in there you never lived by.
Yeah.
And that means there's a lot in there that you didn't, I mean, you might not have quoted it. The sports guys that I listen to, they don't make fun of it like in an irreverent way, although I think they would if they get the opportunity. But one of them likes to make a joke because they didn't know where the statement came from. As iron sharpens iron, and then the way they turned it was, so we make each other better. And they were trying to figure out where that comes from. Like all of us should have immediately known that it comes from the Bible. Some of us should have narrowed that down a little bit closer to a proverb. And then if you're better than me, you can say it's Proverbs 27:17? 17:27? It's got sevens in the address. But they don't know. They just, if whatever you're coming out of, now you have the opportunity to be obedient. As you learn, well, this is what the rules are. Well, now I have the opportunity to do that right. The virgins were asleep. The bad folks, the not prepared folks in our second parable were asleep. Is the Bible telling us not to sleep? You don't get to say yes. Teenagers don't get to say yes. Is the Bible telling us not to sleep? Okay, can we explain spiritually sleeping? Because that's the right answer. Let's open that up and give that a few minutes of conversation. Yes, sir.
You can look at it the same way that God told Adam and Eve that they will die. They will not physically die. You might not physically be lying with your eyes closed, snoring, but your spiritual eyes also aren't awake, looking for what's coming in to destroy you, what's coming in to lead you away from what you're supposed to be doing.
Are you telling Harley that she can't just come here and fall spiritually asleep and count that as righteousness over Sunday morning cartoons?
My internship doesn't start till Sunday.
If a man won't stand for the truth, he don't get an internship. Sorry, Harley. Thank you. But your point was valid, though. To add on to it, to take it to step number 2, because that's a great step number 1, is spiritual awakeness or paying attention or preparedness, right? Can we keep going with that for a moment? What does preparedness look like versus sleeping?
doing something. Like last week's parable, I touched on it and I'd made the remark that a lot of times when I say you become a Christian, you don't just sit back and kick your feet up in the recliner and say, I'm done. That's just the beginning. As it says in the second watch or the third watch, if you've ever worked third shift and had to stay awake, you've done something. You've done some sort of work to keep yourself awake or to watch. And that you've got to be adamant with that, staying awake in your Christian life and not falling asleep. You've got to do something to keep you from falling asleep.
All right, so here's, thank you. Here's awkward moment number 3. What are you doing? To make sure that I'm spiritually awake, there are moments that are more difficult than others. There are times when a lot is asked of us. I would submit to you that those are actually times when it's not necessarily so hard to be a Christian. Why is that? Why is it so much easier to do the speed limit when the cop's behind you?
Because you know you're being watched.
I know I'm being watched. I'm good. I gotta be good. Or, man, there are stretches of interstate in South Dakota that I have seen with my own eyes that you just that the highway keeps going. It looks like a cartoon. There's no turn. There's no road wiggle. There's no nothing. Like, I don't know how they painted straight lines, because that guy should have fallen asleep. And you cannot do the speed limit on that road. I don't believe Debbie Napier could do the speed limit on that road. Tell your mama I said it, and I said it out of love. Just because, look, hey, everything's going so great. When did Israel have problems? When everything was going so great. Every time they were blessed with something, it was, this is it, or this is not good enough. There were so very infrequent times whenever they were blessed with something and said, you know what? Let's stop right here and thank God for it. Let's stop right here and maintain our focus. So infrequently, and that's the warning for us. So frequently we should be checking ourselves, doing what we got to do, pat your foot, engage in the activities that you need to be engaging in to make sure that you're not spiritually asleep. Yeah? Anything else? I'm going to wrap it up, but I'm going to change focus and preach for a minute.
Making those conscious choices that keep your faith active in your daily life when no one's looking, when you're not at church. So that's what strengthens you. That shows you're, as the time says, you're woke. And that's the big thing. Are you woke? And are you spiritually woke? Yeah, if you are trying to be active, I mean, if you have, you take advantage of those opportunities when you can talk to somebody about Jesus, or, helping that stranger out, or that friend or neighbor or whoever that is in need, following those examples that Christ has left us, being cautious about it outside of church.
Yes, sir.
There's a proverb that says, idle hands are the devil's workshop. I can't remember where it is. But idle hands gives you nothing to do, implies that you have nothing to do. It literally says that you have nothing to do. If you have nothing to do, you will naturally look for something to do. If you fill your time with something productive, such as studying your Bible, or things of the Master's kingdom, things of the Master's word, there will be a lot less opportunity for your foot to slip. If your hands are always busy with what the Master has commanded, if you are always looking for an opportunity to fill your idle time with something scriptural, then there will be a lot less opportunity for him to come in and steal and destroy and wreck your life.
Anything else? A week ago, I was at the lectures. The lectures were on parables. Yeah, it wasn't an accident. I was cheating. The opening keynote sermon lecture was probably the most convicting message that I've heard in quite a while. And this was what was convicting. In the parable of the sower, Jesus gives the parable. In Matthew 13 and verse 10, after Jesus has given the parable, then the disciples came and said to him, "Why do you speak to them in parables?" And he answered, "To you it has been given to know the secrets of heaven, but to them it has not been given." So after the parable of the sower, he explains to them the parable of the sower, right? Because they are the ones to whom the kingdom of heaven has been given. They are given the explanation because they are the them. Where is the explanation of the two parables that we read tonight? It's not in there. There are only two parables in the Bible there are only two parables that Jesus gave that are explained. In every other scenario, you're not the good guy. You're not the wise virgin. You're not the wise builder on the rock. You're not the good servant who was prepared. You're being warned not to be the other one. And that hurt my feelings. And I look for loopholes. I'm still looking for a loophole. I am. What if you're not the them that's prepared? I want to be. Who's always prepared? I had to read that. I read that twice preparing for this. But I'm not. I'm not always prepared. I'm not always awake, spiritually awake on third shift. I'm not always finding things for my hands to be doing that are things of the kingdom. We're not. So, as we approach coming parables, and we want to say that because we're the believers and because we're the ones that are going to church to talk about this on Wednesday night, because we are the ones who are trying to gather from the world people to hear the message of God, just because. To you it has been given to know the secrets of the kingdom of heaven. To them it has not been given. There's only two of them that are explained. I'll let you go search out the other one. We're not there yet, by the way. And it hurt my feelings a little bit in a good way. And I want it to hurt your feelings in a good way. So that as you approach the parable from now on, now that you've heard me say that, first of all, go back and listen. Edwin Crozier gave that first. It was the Parable of the Sower by Edwin Crozier. You can go find it on YouTube. Amazing lesson. When you approach the parable from the I'm not absolutely the good guy in the parable, that parable hits different. And it hurts. It can hurt. And it's supposed to. And it can encourage. So as you approach that parable, whichever the next one is, and I didn't write it down because I'm new here. The faithful and the wicked servants from Luke 12, and the dishonest steward from Luke 16. As we approach those, as you go in and start reading those and preparing to come next week, start that reading out with, what if I'm not the good guy here? What if this is talking about me, not to me. I believe it's talking to us as much as it is talking about us. But if we're not evaluating ourselves, then you can hit the snooze button, go back to sleep.